Okay, it's 9 p.m. on the East Coast. That means it's time for another episode of Shop Talk. I'm Chris Callen in the Cycle Source magazine headquarters here in lovely, balmy, 20 degree below zero Pennsylvania.
That's no good.
No, man, it's cold, Ken. It's cold this week.
That is cold.
So
I was playing catch outside with my son earlier today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In
it was
Colorado.
Like 48. Yeah, 48 degrees, something like that.
So the Arctic blast is heading across the country. It has made it most uninhabitable for motorcycle travel throughout the United States. But here in the Shop Talk studios, we're ready to talk about riding anyway because the season is fast approaching.
Well, and it's funny, there have been some great, if anybody's keeping up with social media, there have been some great posts about people out doing the Lord's work on motorcycles.
Yeah. What's that
Guys
mean?
with skis on their feet, and there were some first responders out there with motorcycles and sidecars. I think, wasn't it? And maybe if we see Tom Kiefer on, we should ask him. But I think I remember him saying that it didn't matter what the weather was, that they had to, if they were motorcycle state patrol in Pennsylvania, they had to go out. They had to go out regardless, right?
Yep. That's the deal. Pennsylvania, man. If you're a motor cop, you're motor cop 365.
That's insane. It's one thing when you're in California or you're in Florida or even Georgia, but Pennsylvania, it's cold there.
That's bullshit.
Yeah, I don't know if it's bullshit or not, but it's awfully cold.
So
you'd think they'd be riding Urals at least, right? With the 2-wheel drive deals.
Well, what's nice is they give them these little bat wings, and sometimes they slip on some trike gear, or else they get a sidecar. So they get a big fancy coat and some extra gear.
Dude, it's still cold as shit.
Yeah, there's no way I'm taking that job. That's no trade-off for the summer boy. I'll tell you
no. Thanks. Yeah.
So off to my right, we have the lovely and talented Heather Callen in. She's keeping track of everything on social media for you guys. Yeah. So feel free to shoot up your questions, comments, concerns, or participation in general.
I'll try to pay attention. Maybe.
It's an exciting episode tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really fun. Got Jesse Hughes coming on from the Eagles Death Metal,
which is going to be awesome, dude. Awesome, right?
He's a uber motorcycle enthusiast, so I think it's going to be really fun.
Quite outspoken individual.
Quite outspoken, all about the love, and I'm really excited to hear the good word that he kind of spreads. So I think that's going to be really fun. So we'll have him on here in about 20, 30 minutes, but goddamn, we've got a lot of news this week, dude.
There is a ton of news.
I'm sorry, Heather. I sent you so much news.
It's okay. It's all good. I would rather have too much than not enough.
We do have to take a couple seconds real quick and just check in with everybody on social media. We got a lot of the guys sounding off. Barkley Smashy, best part of the day. Brendan Jack DeGazio are checking in with us. Hello from the end of the world, Bucyrus, Missouri. No global warming here. Cold in Ohio, Abby Clemens. My buddy Dan has a Ural. He rides no matter what. I know a couple guys with Harleys that ride no matter what too. They're hardcore, but that ain't me. Once upon a time, Mike Yorko.
I know. I did it out of necessity.
Right.
When I didn't have a car in college, man, I was riding. I'd show up to class, just full leathers, just beard just covered in ice. I'm ready for my creative writing class.
So Jack Shit's in the house with us tonight. What's up, Jack?
What's up, Jack?
Dusty Pines here. A lot of the regulars. A lot of the regulars are in, so it's gonna be a good night. Everybody's waiting on stuff to happen, like the Super Bowl and Mama Tried, which is the Super Bowl of cool.
I'm waiting for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, Heather is waiting for the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, buddy.
And why is that, Heather?
Go Patriots. I know all you haters out there are going to hate, but I just want them to win one more time so I don't ever have to hear Chris say that the Steelers have one more ring than they do. I just want it to be even. That's it.
Well, in all fairness, what I actually say to her family when they come down on me for being a Steeler fan is that it's easy to hate the team.
The winningest team in history.
That's right, since they invented the game. But that might not be the case after this Super Bowl, so Damn it.
Please,
I know.
just if for that one reason only, they need to win for me.
Okay, so moving on, we're going to take a look at the news. First up in the news tonight is a quick little video we want to play.
Now to the bike that a
Meekum
lot of people
auction.
have come to see, and many would love to be able
Right
to
here
own. It's a
before your eyes,
1939
setting a
Crocker
record.
Big tank.
Beautiful,
And
beautiful
it's kind of
Crocker that was
interesting
at
to try to
Meekum.
categorize. You talk about the Henderson, Paul, being the Duesenberg of motorcycles, the Bruff Superior, maybe the Bugatti,
Or the Rolls-Royce,
or the
yeah.
Rolls-Royce. But this you can't categorize really because it's a hot rod, and that's exactly what we know it as today.
It really is kind of the rootstock of American custom motorcycling, but it was a production bike, even though very limited production. They only made about 70 of these things.
So
Al Crocker had
that
deep
thing
roots in the
goes
American
off
motorcycle industry.
at the
He got
Meekum
his
auction
engineering degree and he
for
went immediately-
$640,000.
Well, it was 740. I think it was 680 was when the gavel came down. But with all the I think with all the fees and everything, I think it came out to $740,000.
Well, it's listed here, six hammers for $640 at the Meekum auction.
Wow.
Oh,
It
then
says,
I
it says on the news page. So I mean, still.
Did you recognize that voice, by the way?
I
That was
did.
Paul d'Orleans. Yeah, that was Paul d'Orleans.
Oh, right on. That's why I'm
Yeah,
sitting here
he's-
listening to it,
yeah.
going,
Yeah, he's one of the announcers.
yeah, $640,000. Who would have ever thought? And I mean, last week we covered the story about the guy who his friends and family thought was a hoarder, and then those bikes ended up at the Meekum auction. I was lucky enough to talk to Kiwi Mike while that auction was going on. I was like, Mike, tell me about the Indian collection. He goes, he said, honestly, the hype drove the prices up like crazy. He said they're getting way more for those bikes than they ever would have.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's what happens, right? I mean, you want to find that and then just write them a check, right? Or actually just bring suitcases full of money.
right.
God, I can't remember who I was with, but they were going to an antique auction, and he's like, "Yep, I got my bricks," and I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, I bring bricks of $10,000 bills, like of bricks of $10,000
Oh,
to the swap meet." I'm like, "Dude, what? What are you talking about?"
you got to admit that was an absolutely stunning motorcycle, though.
Oh, for sure. Yep.
Yeah, I lost track here when you were talking about a friend of yours going to a business transaction with bricks of money, because I have some friends that do that too, but it's not suitable for conversation on this show. Moving on, let's talk about this item up in the news. In from Fortune magazine, are millennials killing Harley Davidson? Younger consumers are buying motorcycles for different reasons. And, as you can imagine, us being embroiled in, entrenched in, engulfed in, overrun with the motorcycle industry, as it were. This is something that comes up all the time. But boy, what do you say, Ken? What's your position here?
I think it's interesting that they talk about how, I think the real takeaway is that millennials are looking at motorcycles more as a form of transportation than they are a luxury item. And so I think that really digs into Harley's sales. When you can go and buy a Triumph for the same money or less, that you can get a, kind of a low end Harley for. I think a lot of people are doing that, or they're buying used bikes,
I think this is a
Renting.
convenient label that people who don't understand the culture behind motorcycling put on it, and an easy way for them to talk about, why sales are soft right now. I mean, you and I have talked about this, and I think a real report needs to be done. If you consider the sales reports from the automotive industry, from 4 or 5 industries off the top of my head that I could go through right now, who are
Sure.
also experiencing soft numbers, I think we're looking at a cultural phenomenon across the United States that reports soft sales as opposed to decades before this. And a lot of that has to do with exactly what they're trying to make the connection to here. But the fact that Generation X, which is the super consumer of this culture right now, on both sides, for the first time, one generation is responsible both for parents and for children. Millennials are staying in the houses longer. parents are oftentimes more dependent on the generation in the middle. And, we're experiencing a time where there's not a lot of extra capital and not a lot of consumer confidence to go along with it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I think if you look at some like enthusiast sort of pastimes, whether it's hunting or whatever, all of those things are down. It's not like, but Harley and motorcycling is an easy one to put a finger on because they've got the numbers and they're enormous, right? I mean, it's down from, it's down 50%, 70%, from 10 years ago. I mean, it's a huge number. So, and the thing that's interesting, Polaris and Harley came out with their I don't think I even sent that stuff over to you guys, but they came out with their sales statistics this week for last year, and both of them were down. And Polaris didn't say what their projections were for 2019, but Harley said, they're going to be down again. The amount of bikes that we sell is going to be down again, but the overall was up. Right, the gross was up, so that tells you they're cutting things, right, as well as selling motorcycles for more money.
And I mean that's the responsible thing to do, is to adjust to a new normal. But the one thing that needs adjusted here is they're partially right in this report that a lot of millennials do look at things like motorcycles as just transportation. There are quite a few millennials which, whether it was cultural exposure or whatever, still do have a tendency to identify with vehicles like motorcycles and put a certain amount of their own personality investment into that vehicle, where it's not just about transportation.
Well, and if you look at popular media, there's a lot of popular media that's coming out. I think the new Keanu Reeves John Wick movie has a bunch of motorcycles in it. My understanding is it's a bunch of zero motorcycles, but they're actually combustion. They make them sound like combustion bikes. That was just what I read. I didn't look into it a whole lot further. And then the new
is the proverbial playing card in the spokes, dude.
The new Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson movie, whatever it is, the Fast and the Furious, blah blah blah. Something in Hobbs, is coming out as well, and it looks like he's sitting on a Harley, I believe, like some sort of custom Harley. So I think that's great for us, right? Those are the things that we need. The X Games are things that we need, as an industry.
I believe we need a broad approach that includes all three generations at once, rather than, super focused. But hey, here's the good news. Rich Petoniak, we sold 8 Indians last Saturday. So there you go. There's 8 more. Chris No chimes in that millennials parents are not buying Harleys for their spoon-fed kids. And again, like what we were talking about, man, millennials have been found to live, what was the percentage? There's a percentage. I actually have a report that I'm working on, but they're actually living at home longer, which for Generation X was longer than their parents. And I mean, I still wish I lived at home. Actually, I do. Everybody just died.
I was gonna say, you still live in the same house you grew up in.
The exciting part though is the rise in women riders, and I think that is just going to keep growing. And I think once we get women on motorcycles, that means kids are going to get on motorcycles more, and I feel like that's going to really help perpetuate some sales. I feel like there is another boom that's going to happen, and you and I have talked about this, Chris. When Gen X's kids get out of the house and they start to really stretch their legs and really start to kind of not reach retirement age, but that kind of sweet spot in between being successful, having your feet on the ground, and then retiring. That's when a lot of people are spending a lot of money and doing the stuff that they go, hey, you know what? I probably only got 20 more years left here. I'm going to go buy whatever.
Here's the thing that I wonder about, because that is the truth. I absolutely believe that there's going to be a similar repeat, because I think when I was doing my research, it was like the baby boomers make up 22% of the population. Behind that, Generation X, that a lot of people are willing to overlook, they still make up 20% of the population. So the numbers are still there. There's a good chunk of of data to actually work with in any sales strategy. And what I worry about is we're making so many accommodations for vehicles as transportation, looking for that outreach all the time, that we're forgetting this group in the middle. And by the time they get to a place where they have that money to spend, which is, any minute now, that the landscape is going to be so different that they're going to be like, what do I want to do this for? You know what I mean? Because
I'm going to go buy. Yeah, they'll go buy a slingshot.
Right.
No, I'm just
no,
kidding.
but seriously, they'll do something else that's going to give them the same kind of exhilaration and life experience that the baby boomers experienced when they bought motorcycles. Because let's face it, when the average boomer bought a motorcycle, it sure as hell wasn't about eco-friendly or transportation, or it was an expression, man. Part of it was an expression. They were joining into a community and a culture, and whatever the hell you want to label you want to put on it.
Dude,
it was more than buying something.
Oh yeah, I mean, I remember when I bought my first bike, my first real bike, which was a Honda Shadow, by the way. And I felt like I was the coolest kid around. I had just broken up with my girlfriend, or actually fiance at that point.
No.
Oh yeah, and I was like, "This is how I'm going to get the chicks. This is how it's going down." And like I look at it now and I'm like, "What a loser." But straight pipes on a Honda. Oh yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. But it was a shift, and I guess that was really my second bike. I had a bike before that, but I could never keep it running.
Oh, it's definitely a topic that's going to continue to fuel conversation. I mean, in this next couple years, we're gonna see a direction. There's no doubt about it.
And what do you think about like mentorship? Because I mean, I know I had a couple guys that rode that were instrumental. I mean, I still have the jacket that one of them gave me, and I still ride with that thing,
I think it's crucial. It's crucial, and it's exactly what I'm talking about. With the industry right now is the fact that we need to constantly reinvigorate the core, because the core, and this is something I'll totally give credit to Pat Jansen for this, because I read something or I was in conversation with him and he brought that up, that term, reinvigorate the core. If you keep your core invigorated, excited, inspired, they will do half of the work for you to usher in the next generation of your customers, of your culture, whatever you want to call. They'll do half of the work just by keeping the people that are into it and excited.
Yeah, I believe that. But don't you think it became less exciting when it became a boutique, right? Instead of going into the greasy shop, it became this, mega. But we didn't have a choice in that. That was the way that it happened because of the amount of sales that were happening in the landscape.
The greasy shop's still there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it is. I guess I'm talking about dealerships. It's just a very different experience now.
I think that
I don't know,
is.
Chris, have you ever bought a brand new motorcycle?
I bought a nearly new motorcycle. I bought one with 10,000 miles on it, which to me is a new motorcycle. God damn it.
Ken, do you think your kids will ride?
I don't know. I just messaged a guy. There's a PW80 for sale, not too far from here. And I'm like, yeah, I haven't even broached the subject with my wife. But if I was going to go get it, I'd have to do it tomorrow. So everybody chime in. Tell me why I should go get my...
You absolutely should go get it. If we got our 4-year-old grandson an electric dirt bike...
I'd be so stoked.
You can go get him one too. I mean, I hope it doesn't take that long, but I think that's when we're going to see the most significant resurgence is with your kids, or actually our grandchildren.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's going to be when we see the biggest thing.
I think we're going to see a significant climb in all of it whenever, like Ken said, when the millennials start to get the hell out of the house, when we're not responsible for mom and dad's day to day. I think a lot of that's gonna start to change. We're sitting on a threshold of Generation X becoming the super consumer. That's going to change things. You know what I mean? And one thing's for sure, Generation X, like I made a joke about this in the article that I'm working on, that, we're the John Binders and the Ferris Buellers of this generation. Well, that's not, if you look at the marketing direction that a lot of this stuff is going to, that's not the person that you're going to reach with that kind of marketing. And you're going to have to stop taking for granted that those people were already in for a penny and in for a pound.
please, please, please put up that Honda thing. Did you get that? That
Oh,
Honda.
you sent it on Instagram, Ken.
Hang on, I'll get it.
Okay.
No, you
So
can't get your
you-
messages on
I'll just-
Instagram.
You entertain for a minute.
Yeah, I'll just kind of let people know what I'm talking about. So Honda USA just announced a partnership with Forever 21. Okay, it seems absolutely ridiculous. It's along with the Grom, but it's all like retro 80s gear that goes along with it. And the thing that I love about this, right, is that Honda is thinking outside the box. They're like, hey, if we want to get to millennials, they're actually getting to people a lot, because Forever 21 is really, probably a younger audience than that. But if you look at what they're selling, I mean, they are selling the 80s, right? I mean, full on. But they're also going to probably have a Grom in every goddamn Forever 21, which is in every mall across America, right? So a lot of the Grom guys are like, oh, this is bullshit. And I see it as like, this is fantastic. Like, I'm like, this is
I also
great,
think this dispels everything that Dutch said last week about ditching the promo models, because obviously they're selling hot chicks too. Right? I mean,
yeah, I mean, but anybody can ride a Grom, right? So it doesn't really count. But yeah, they've got them on dirt bikes and whatever. But I just thought, like, how cool, like, what a great idea to get, if that retro, we'll see whether it actually sells or not. But, that getting that retro 80s, kind of dirt bike vibe and see how it goes. I mean, that's huge, right? I mean, you go into every mall and what do they have? Cars, right?
Yeah.
They've got a car parked somewhere. So why not have motorcycles?
So a lot of people are chiming in on their first motorcycles. A lot of people, surprised to hear that you started out on a Rebel. But I remember that jingle, riding on a Rebel.
It wasn't a Rebel. It was a Honda Shadow, and it was a 1100. It was an 1100. I opted for the 1100 because I got on the 750, and the guy was like, "You're going to be sick of that in like 2 weeks." And I was like, "This is so big, though." Anyway.
Scotty says, myself, my wife, my sons, my daughter, and my daughter-in-law ride. One grandson ride so far. Big thanks to Brian Clark for keeping us motivated and up to date with the cool kids. See? Inspiration, man. Inspiration. Yep. Keeping the core invigorated.
Yep.
General consensus is you need to go buy that bike tomorrow.
All right. I'll figure it out.
Do it.
So let's keep moving on with the news. We got a couple more items that we can get to. This one was so good that I had to pen a little bit of a story for this week's Cycle Source magazine blog. There's a guy actually riding across Siberia to the coldest inhabited place on Earth right now. You think it's cold outside?
Why? There's got to be a reason.
I can't even pretend that I can say this guy's name, but literally riding across the eastern Siberian tundra, making the impossible motorcycle trip between two frostbitten cities of Yakutsk and another town I can't say. I'm not good at this. Ken, go ahead, take over.
Nope.
Although the 621-mile journey across the R504 Kalmoya Highway, a.k.a. the Road of Bones, there's a place I want to travel. Sounds daunting. Moloskus is shockingly serene. In 2017, he's rode his bike across the entirety of Russia's Lake Byaki in the dead of winter. He's waged other mental and physical battles with Mother Nature. He is absolutely batshit crazy because...
Dude, only give it up for the Russians, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that is the reality, because it's going to be hard to... Although I did see a post from Jesse James recounting his trip up to the Arctic Circle or whatever, where it was negative 70 degrees. I saw his little post about that today. But I mean, you got to be a hard ass mofo to go and do that. So hats off to him. I think it's cool, man.
Rich Petoniak, the Serbian ride is crazy. Oh, look, a dead wire. They aren't pronounceable. Absolutely.
Okay, who is that Cycle Source magazine person?
I don't know.
It's not Missy.
Who is it? Who is it calling?
I asked. Nobody answered.
Tonight?
Is it Jack?
Maybe it's Rebecca.
Jack? Is that you, Jack?
No, Jack came in as Jack.
Who knows?
SundayMotors.com. Daryl wants us to look at Sunday Motors. Let me see if I can bring this up real quick. I like to include people. So,
all right, we got 7 minutes before we got to call Jesse, anyways. But and the other thing is, who are the guys that were just riding up in Canada? Did you guys see that? That was super fun. They're riding like these studded tire Harleys and just all over the place. Harley did some posts on them. It was pretty fun ride to follow along, and they got some great footage of just gnarly riding in the snow. Like, not something that I would enjoy doing, I don't think.
Okay, this is the Sunday Motors.
Oh, it's a brand of motorcycle?
Yeah.
Oh.
S147 and the S187. Wow, actually pretty cool looking too.
How much are they?
Yeah, how much are they? They look like flat trackers? Are
yeah.
they street legal?
Yeah.
Yep.
They're kind of
Okay,
cool.
I just lost it.
Are they street legal?
They're more, from the looks of it, they're more of a dirt bike.
Yeah, it looks like a flat tracker.
Yeah, it doesn't look like
straight
any
up.
headlights. Can I get any? Huge fan of the American roots of motorcycle racing, riding an oval-shaped track, wide open, sliding around the corner. Yeah, it doesn't say anything about street ability. So
Yeah, so it's just a racing bike. That's fun though.
yeah, it looks like
Quanto
it looks like
Presto.
pit bike motors, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, and you got to start somewhere. Right?
I like pit bike
it's a,
racing.
and that's like a stressed member. The engine is right.
Okay, coming off of that.
All right.
Our mystery cycle source person is Rebecca. She said it keeps changing on her.
Harley Davidson in the news again this week. Announces fourth quarter, full year 2018 results.
Mm-hmm.
What do you got, Ken?
Oh, I distilled it all down in a little article that people can go to cyclesource.com on the blog there, and they can see everything about Harley's fourth quarter earnings as well as Polaris's. Polaris is a little more, you really got to drill down to see the motorcycle piece of it, but you can find out from there everything. I did some research, and, they're both down. And, I think to Chris's point, I don't think that it's surprising. They're probably going to be down. And it's just the way it is, at this point. Their worldwide sales are down as well. So there's no silver lining at this point. They are talking, they said they cut some costs. I think everybody has experienced that, that's in the motorcycle industry and that deals with Harley Davidson, whether it's plant closures or whatever.
But also, like, we had a great conversation earlier this week. It's not just the motorcycles are down. Ford's down. GMC is down. What, Ford was down 8% when we talked about that this week?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what it was. I
It's,
can't remember.
It's not just motorcycles. It's almost across the board.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How many retail giants are closing?
Indian was down as well. And it's, it's hard to kind of, you've got to extrapolate. Or I should say their motorcycle segment was down. It's really hard to say because they put Slingshot in there with it. So you don't really know. They're not required to say, like, hey, this is how many units we sold. And we're also still winding down Victory in the previous year that you're comparing it to. So it's just it's probably not a real number.
So Daryl would like to know you guys, your opinion on will it ever get to another AMF point? He's looking for your opinion on those.
Harley Davidson in general, or Harley Davidson specifically, or motorcycles in general? Which one are we talking about?
So if we're talking about Harley Davidson specifically, there's no way that the consumer would tolerate it, right?
No.
I mean, there's too many options.
He said HD.
Yeah, the knee-jerk reaction for somebody that's been in this for a long time, like you want to say that Harley Davidson seems like it's departed so much away from like their foundation, what's been for the last 2 decades, that like they're searching for an identity, they're searching for products, they're searching for connections to different generations, but it's still, in comparison, nothing like when they were AMF. I mean, through those time periods, dude, like the company,
market share that they have now is what, 33%
Yeah.
of all of U.S. motorcycles are Harley Davidson. I mean, if you take everything else put together, and it still doesn't equal up to what Harley sells. You know, like it's a crazy amount of motorcycles that they sell. So I think, you know, just the fact that, you know, everybody says, oh, they're down, you know, and they're still the big dog. There's no doubt about it. But in similar news, did you hear that salsa replaced ketchup as the #1 condiment in the United States? What the hell is going on, guys?
I think as people like to say salsa.
What is going on?
It's because they don't actually make Heinz in Pittsburgh anymore,
No,
right?
that's what happened. As soon as Del Monte Foods came in and they moved ketchup out of Pittsburgh, the shit hit the fan.
Although I think
it's great.
Chris
I think it's a
does
sign of
personally
diversity, man.
support half of Heinz.
She's making fun because I'm a traditionalist. I have ketchup on everything. Eggs.
No, you have
Eggs, pie.
things with ketchup.
Really?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
I like ketchup. I like ketchup on my eggs. I
no,
like
but
ketchup on
his eggs.
I like
are-
ketchup with potatoes, like with
Yes.
potato chips.
Yes.
No, his eggs are with his ketchup.
That's
yeah.
People don't need to know about this.
It's a lot of corn syrup, actually, is what it is.
See, too much sugar.
Hey, so we're fast at work.
This is like moving on.
We're fast at work in the Cycle Source Labs at this year's Twisted Tea giveaway bike. You can go to twistedtea.com today and sign up for free for a chance to win next year's bike. This is what we got going on. Hey man, this is Chris with Cycle Source Magazine, Greasing Gears Garage, back in the Cycle Source Lab where we are fast at the winter work of keeping heat in the tools because man is it cold outside. But we're going to do a little out of the box here real quick. I want to thank the guys from American Classic Cycle in Zieglerville, PA for getting us a super quick shipment out of our wheels for the Twisted Tea Polo bike. I should have called it the Polar bike. And while I'm unwrapping these things, I want to thank a bunch of people because this style of motorcycle, I haven't built a Softail Christ for 10 years or better. And I turn to a lot of people who work with this stuff all the time, like Brian Clock and Chris Moose. And I'm asking tons of questions, which there's nothing wrong with. But we went with a 21 and an 18. As you can see here, our 21 is a 3.5 rim width, so it's going to be nice big beefy tire up front. So if you're interested in keeping up with that build like we do every year, there's regular updates going to be happening on Instagram and Facebook. You can follow along as we build the giveaway bike, and we will be unveiling that at several spots through Daytona once we get the bike week and damn warmth.
So somebody earlier, right when we came on, said they were surprised to see that you were building the Twisted Tea Cholo. I think it was Brian Nichols. I asked why they were surprised. Are they surprised because it's a Cholo? Or because you're building another bike for Twisted Tea?
You know, earlier today...
Or it's a Softail.
Or it's a Softail.
Earlier today when I went to use the word Cholo in describing that bike on the feed generator, it told me that it was a controversial term. So I think we should maybe start referring to it as the Twisted Tea Lowrider.
Twisted Tea Lowrider. Since when are you politically correct? Please.
I don't know. Go figure. You put me in a nice shirt, I lose my mind.
Please.
How many spokes? Yeah, 48 spokes.
Missy, we didn't need to know that. You can just shut up now.
Brian Nichols says yes, Cholo style. So here's the deal. Like, if you've been following the stuff that we've done with the Twisted Tea bike year after year, they constantly come up with ways to challenge me. Like the first year was our anniversary, and they let me.
Hey, I hate to
PC,
break
I'm
in,
wrong.
but we should probably call Jesse.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just saying. We can get back to the Twisted Tea bike. I'm sure we'll talk about it lots.
Yes.
Right. The Twisted Tea Lowrider bike.
Lowrider. There you go.
It's just going to be referred to as the Mayan bike. Come on, guys.
No.
It is. That's
Well,
what it is.
let's see if
That's
we
what
get
it's
our-
modeled after.
Our first guest on.
All right.
Hello?
Hey, Jesse, what's up? You're on the air with Chris and Ken. How you doing?
Awesome, dude. That's like immediately right to air. That's badass.
We try.
That's killer. It's like no prep. Like, here, you go for it. I love it. Awesome.
So we're super stoked to have you on tonight, man. Thanks for taking the time.
Oh, dude, this is awesome. I went to our local smoke shop just so I could get ready for it.
Right on. So for a lot of people that don't know, so Jesse is the lead singer of the Eagles of Death Metal. He's also known as Father Badass, right?
Yes, sir.
And a huge motorcycle enthusiast.
Yes, sir.
Can you give people just a little background on how you got into motorcycles?
Let's see. That's probably almost from like right when I was conceived. I think my mom was on the back of like a Honda CRV or something like that, riding around when I was in the womb. But my uncle Damien was an angel, and he would always blow in every time I was a kid, once a year. And when I could hear the rumble of that chopper cruising up the block, I would get this excitement, because he was my coolest uncle. And he was also the most free dude I've ever known in my life. So I think that's where it started. It always starts like that, with a hero that you have in your life or a treasured relative. And I think when you hear that rumble and you feel it and it speaks to you and you get that feeling in your stomach, like you got to be on top of whatever's making that noise, I think that's how I got it.
Nice. When did you first start riding?
When I was about 7 years old, my dad had made one of those little mini bikes with a lawnmower.
Nice.
And he let me sit on it, much to my mother's chagrin. And that's the first time I got on it. But my first actual like real bike would have been my Honda CR80, or maybe even my Honda 250, the three-wheeler, my ATC that I got when I was just a kid.
Right on. So listen, man, you've had a wildly successful career in music, been all over the world playing. How much of a part of your day-to-day when you're touring do you get to have motorcycles as? I mean, do you drag stuff around with you, or what's the deal with that?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm fortunate enough to where I get to have a trailer, and the last tour I did, for example, was with Joshua Homme, my best friend. Queens of the Stone Age and Eagles of Death Metal toured about 8-9 months ago, maybe almost a year ago. And Joshua brought his Harley and I brought my Indian. And we started in Canada and we followed the bus the whole way down. I don't think we were ever even on the bus once.
That's great. That's a real true feeling of freedom. And I think that's where, music and motorcycling kind of intersect, right? I mean, there's a lot of similarities there, don't you think?
Well, and the synthesis of it, I mean, so much of my music has been written after just getting off a bike or thinking about or daydreaming about being on my bike. You know what I mean? Especially with
awesome.
My girl. And I mean, there's no denying the ultimate synthesis of music and motorcycles in the lyrics, "Get your motor running, head out on the highway."
Right.
I mean, that Born to Be Wild is probably one of the most perfect rock songs, and it's no mystery that it's about riding on a motorcycle.
Yeah, buddy. Yes, sir.
And
Steppenwolf actually did a bunch of badass rock and roll songs about motorcycles, the least of which was "Screamin' Night Hog." I mean, that just sounds awesome.
That does sound awesome.
Was that particularly about a motorcycle?
Possibly there was a little innuendo in there, you know what I mean? But
right on.
So how much influence because you grew up out in the desert with Josh, right? How much of that
Absolutely.
influence kind of came up with, the motorcycle side? I mean, that's a very different kind of like working class sort of environment, right?
it was a bizarre environment, dude, because it was working class on the one hand, and then all of the Hollywood elite and the political elite, because it's where Ronald Reagan went to plot the overthrow of communism. It's where every president retires now. It's where, like, you know, that Palm Springs, the California Angels used to come there and do their spring training along with the Lakers. It was a very bizarre place, and motorcycles were a big part of it because there was so much open space. When I was a little kid and I first moved to the desert, the bikers would start to come from the like Old Woman Springs Road or Joshua Tree, and you could hear them coming 30 minutes before they got to town. And it was literally like people grabbing their children and running across the streets, and shops and that kind of thing. And
That's
I always
great.
remember thinking, like, just because of a motorcycle, huh? But a motorcycle is just a thing. But the thing it is for us is it's true. It's almost a cliche, but it's a representation of my life.
See, man, and that's what we're here talking about tonight, too. We're talking about the fact that we've arrived at a place where culturally, in a generational perspective, we have a lot of people reporting today that millennials, by and large, look at motorcycles as transportation. And for Generation X and before, we have a hard time with that because there's so much of that personality, of that expression like you're talking about. It's part of us.
I almost honestly never considered it transportation, even though that's what it did. Like, never merely transportation. Are you kidding me? It's so much more beyond that. It was things that I aspired to be able to be involved with. So, learning how to break down a carburetor or rebuild these things were all something that was so much more than just the thing itself. I mean, it's so much more than just fashion, Like, I think right now we have the two schools of fashion, which is like the classic Harley biker and then the Roger Corman 60s biker movie guy. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's either all black or pirate stripes and a black vest.
Yeah. That's great.
For sure. Well, and you've managed to, with Eagles Death Metal, I mean, your fans are a wide range of people as well, right? I mean, you really cross the generations there.
Well, my mom says I Quentin Tarantino-wise classic rock radio, and I think that's pretty fair. I like people, and for me, Eagles of Death Metal is like the Special Forces of rock, and it's the one place where it's the fun show. It's kind of hard to say no to the fun show. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't know what the language requirements are of this particular podcast, so I don't want to...
Wide open.
Wide open.
Well,
yep.
Even the worst blowjob is still amazing. and that's sort of the theory I'm moving for when it comes to my music.
Oh, I don't know. I think you might be selling yourself short there. You guys are pretty incredible.
Well, brother, I appreciate that. When you're stealing... You can steal from people that suck, but why? There's so much good music out there.
It's true. It's true. So you're riding
my
an
dad
Indian
used to
these
say-
days. Did you get some sort of, are you on some sort of deal with them, or do you really like that bike?
The Indian?
Or both?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Indian.
Okay.
I love the new bike. I really do. And I only endorse things that I absolutely love.
Sure.
I've made it a point of pride for me, but I also like the benefits of rock and roll membership too. You know what I mean? Which
Yeah,
is,
that
let's face it, pretty cool.
Yes, sir.
And you're riding a vintage, right?
Yeah, and right now I have a Springfield. It's the one I wanted. The emerald green fleck paint with the passenger platform foot pad. That's one of my favorite details, is when the passenger has platform foot pads. You know what I mean?
For sure. It's a lot more comfortable, right, Heather?
Much more comfortable. So we do have a couple questions from social media here. Somebody wants to know what your favorite motorcycle that you ever owned is, and what's the one motorcycle, if you could own, what would it be? Like your dream motorcycle?
Ooh. My dream motorcycle would be the rebuilt pre-junk Evel Knievel Caesar's Palace bike.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Possibly, yeah. That would. I mean, it's probably like a tie between a few of them, between the Evel Knievel bike, or gosh, let me think. Oh, the bike in the episode of Chips that Donnie Most had when he was the Daredevil that would plot those illusions, and he had the black cape. That was killer, dude.
Right on. Those are good answers, dude. Those are good answers.
I also love the Steve McQueen endorsed Yamaha that he did, as well as the Honda, the CRV. I think it was a '74 CRV 360. I love that bike. But my favorite bike that I've ever owned is, either my 75 KZ400, because that was such a beautifully created bike. It was one of the first years with the power band, so when you hit 7,000 RPMs, it just takes off. It was a cool cafe racer. Or right now, I also have a 74 Honda CRV 360 that I love. And it's so tough to say. I also like my Police 1000, my Kawasaki KD1000, because everyone thinks I'm a cop and they get out of the way.
Those bikes growing up, dude, those bikes were like, we used to call them hog killers because they were so disgusting fast, and it was such a sleeper. Like, I can remember the first time when I was a kid and a buddy of mine pulled up on one of those, and I was like, pfft. He says, yeah, come on, let's run. And I'm like, dude, I'm on a 1340. He dogged my ass with that bike so bad.
Dude, those bikes are so quick and so well made, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also quiet, considering how fast they are. I'm always a big fan of physical weight. Bikes that have a lot of alloys in them and like, you know, like the Ninja style bikes, those scare me because they seem like they want to fly more than they want to roll.
Yeah.
And
that's a good way of putting
when you
it.
have all the weight of like an Indian Springfield or something, it's just so heavy. It's going to stay on the earth. You know what I mean?
So speaking of Indian Springfield, Rich Petoniak is the head guy up at Indian Springfield, and he says that you need a 116 on your Indian. It looks like he's offering up a little motor upgrade.
That's going to be a long way to go for that, though.
Right.
I'll come out to him. I will come out to him.
There you go, Rich.
I'm a sucker for this kind of stuff.
So what did you? So speaking of Evel Knievel, what did you think of the Evel Live? I'm assuming that you watched that or that you found out about it when Travis Pastrana did 3 of Evel's jumps.
I did. I thought. I mean, I think anything Evel Knievel is awesome, right? But I wish we had a little bit more of the Evel Knievel attitude, which was, I'm only going to do this Snake River jump because that asshole doesn't want me to.
Yep.
That's
Which
such
to
a
me
crazy
is
thing
the
too.
biker.
No,
go
go
ahead. Say that again. No, you go.
Being at the Snake River, like going by there and then witnessing, like looking at how far that actually is astounding. You're like, oh,
Dude,
that's such a bad idea.
No piece of film does that jump justice.
Nope.
No, nothing I've ever seen really ever did it justice till I went and saw it myself, and I was like, oh my holy crap.
And that's when it comes into perspective. You realize that he never could have expected to do anything but crash his brains out there.
Yeah. There's no way he was going to make that.
Dude, there's interviews with him that are priceless where Howard Cosell's like, so, Evel, you expect to make this jump tonight? And he's like, oh, no, not a chance. Not a chance. but you know, I have to do it. It's like, there's no question as to whether or not, oh, no way I'm going to make this jump. But, you know, the kids came out and we got a show to put on. So I kind of love that attitude. And that, to me, that is what typifies or sums up what I consider to be the nobility aspect of the biker thing. You know what I mean? It's there. We're going to do it, and I'm going to trust my machine, and my machine's probably going to hold out a lot better than I am.
So let's talk for a minute. We got pictures, a bunch of pictures supplied to us here of you and some on motorcycles, some on stage. The one I want to talk to you about is this black Panhead Duo Glide that you're on. Is that your motorcycle?
That's Joshua's.
Dude, that thing is so badass.
Dude, it is such a badass bike. And Joshua's bikes tend to be interesting, you know, like the custom bikes made for Shaq, you know, bikes made for a giant, and Joshua's a 6'5" Viking monster. And because he's so tall, he often has to have some interesting specialization. But on that bike, I've never always been the biggest, you know, specific Harley enthusiast. And I don't mean to say that in any way that I don't love Harley. I'm just saying it's not always been the bike that's got my goat. But that bike that Joshua has, I oftentimes try to like get him to leave it at my house. You know, maybe give him cocktails and be like, "You shouldn't drive, dude. You know, you really, I'm worried about you. You should just leave the bike here and come get it in the morning."
Well, and that's like the typical bike that I would think of when you think of like people bringing their young children in when somebody comes rolling through town.
Right.
Like that is like a fire-breathing Panhead, loud. It's got that thump thump. Those big ape hangers on it. Yeah, that's a
Big
mean looking
ape
bike.
hanger. When you're a little, when you're not quite as big as Josh, it literally feels like you're an ape hanging.
No, I'll tell you what, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Pass along from us, and we'd love to take pictures of that thing.
Yeah, that thing's
Well,
ridiculous.
you know what? I will personally take extra pictures and send them to you.
Right on.
Right on.
That's
That'd be
badass.
great. Cool.
And I also got to say that one of my favorite things in the whole world, one of my most treasured memories, are always going to be when I was on the road with my best friend Joshua and we were rolling on our motorcycles down the highway. That's all we were doing. We were just going to the next city, and the corniest and cliched of wind in our hair. I mean, those are the magic moments of my life where I feel an almost complete, like a Zen Buddhist who's almost like completely, reached the nirvana of transcendental meditation or some shit like that. Like, it's on a bike. The closest I'll ever come to agreeing with hippie shit is when I'm on a bike.
Hey, you know what, man? Seriously, I was talking to a friend about this the other day about transcendental meditation. And when you and one other guy are riding two motorcycles down the road like that, and those motors get into sync, that harmonic vibration that goes on, the noise that goes on between them, it's almost like it ties into that meditative state.
The Om.
It's music. It's
Yeah.
music.
It really
And
is. Well, and the
musicians
sad thing is that the sad thing is that the people have never done that, don't understand it. Like, they don't get it. I mean, I'm sure it's similar to that feeling of being on stage, and entertaining a bunch of people and just looking out and having that moment of, wow, all these people are here to see me.
You try to hit the nail on the head, dude. I love what I do. This is the greatest job in the world, and there's no greater feeling than to see an ocean of people with smiles on their face. And the greatest honor of my life is always going to be the fact that I've been able to entertain my friends. I find it to be the most rewarding thing ever. And it is absolutely a situation where unless you're going to do it, there's really no way to understand it. And when two people are riding down the road on a motorcycle, they not only get their motors in sync, but they also get into this synchronicity of like a flow of how to move around the vehicles and how to move in and out of lanes. And it's this unspoken communication that starts to take place that is so beautiful that words will fail you immediately.
Yep.
Agreed.
Ken, there's another thing, like speaking for performing musicians. There's one thing when you're playing for a crowd, it's a blast, and you get that whole kind of metaphysical connection. There's a thing that happens once in a while, and they actually call it a moment, when the entire band gets into that exact right rhythm and everything's at the right level and everybody's playing the exact right part, and there could be 2,000 people in the room or 2 people in the room. Everything disappears and it becomes that moment. That's how good motorcycle riding is.
Yeah, we call that when the show comes to life.
Yep.
And it can happen 5 songs into it, 1 song into it, but it's when you and the audience become a human piston and you're pushing on them and they're pushing on you, and after a moment it truly takes on its own momentum and its own life, and it's the most spiritual thing that I've ever personally experienced outside of speaking in tongues.
Absolutely.
Nice.
So,
So what are you plans for 2019?
Oh yeah, all kinds of plans. I'm going to end our dependence upon foreign oil single-handedly. It's going to be a really big deal for the country.
I can't wait to see this.
That's right. I'm going to heal the nation's wounds after the hashtag debacles that we've been experiencing.
Nice.
And I endeavor to stay hornier than I've ever been in my life. And
Fantastic.
I'm also, we're Josh and I are getting ready to record another Eagles album. In about a couple weeks, I'm releasing a covers album called Songs I Never Wrote.
Nice.
With very interestingly selected covers that you wouldn't expect, some old white boy like me to be able to do. I'm going to try them anyway. and see what happens. And we have a lot of touring planned. I'm going to sleep when I die. And I think one of the most beautiful and admirable aspects of the biker mentality is that until I'm under a blanket of dirt, I'm going to keep moving forward and rolling down the highway,
Right on.
That's so great. So you and Joshua are going to do another album together?
Of course, we want to do this for the rest of our lives. And he's the best friend I've ever had in my life. And half of the reason for the Eagles albums for both of us is so that we can get together and hang out. I mean, when we're recording a record, it probably is like not that much fun for everyone else because everyone else has to go find us or like, where are they at? Dude, they're out in the parking lot with drones right now. It's like, okay, great. Dude, they just took 2 gallons of processed gasoline and some gunpowder. I think we need to stop whatever they're going to do.
Oh, that sounds like you, Chris.
Yep.
Holy cow.
I love it. I support
That's
this.
so great.
Great.
We love to
great.
make amazing and hilarious things like that. You know what I
Oh.
mean? My
Yeah.
dad used to say there's 2 types of rock and roll bands. This is a little rude, but he used to say there's a rock and roll band that comes out and jacks off for everyone to see and a rock and roll band that fucks everybody in the room. and we always endeavor to try to be in rock and roll band number 2.
Nice. That's so great. Yeah, I remember. So Queens of the Stone Age actually played up in Sturgis, and they came out after their show. It was pouring rain. I think it was the same night that Kid Rock was playing. And Josh and those guys were just so gracious. They came out and drank with everybody and hung out, and just such good guys. I mean, just regular, everyday guys.
Josh and I talked about that because we played Sturgis too when Wolfmother played about 5-6 years ago. And
Yep.
it's a show where we're playing for our people. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
because sometimes we're playing shows for definitely not our people. You know what I mean? Where
Yeah.
we're like, I'm out of here when this is done playing. But when you're in a show like Sturgis, you're like, can we stay later? Like, because if we weren't playing it, we probably would be
Yeah. Yep.
So I do have 2 questions from some fans on Facebook. They want to know where your favorite place that you've ridden is and what your bucket list ride is.
My bucket list ride. I've got a couple of bucket list rides. My first bucket list ride would be on to take an American made Indian right into the heart of Beijing and plant an American flag. Do one for for America. That's
America.
the one I would think. But my one bucket list ride is the Mount Rushmore ride.
Right. Needles Highway. And then
I would
Iron
love
Road.
so much to do that. My ideal is always on the most quintessentially old-fashioned of highways. I like where there's just lanes and nothing but miles and miles and miles of road ahead of you, where you really could just lock your wheels in a straight line and keep moving. You know what I mean? My favorite ride so far, was when I got to go my first bike week in Florida. That was last year, and that was epic for me. That was
Right on.
in a city of bikers that it's like, whoa, this is a weird movie.
Yeah, I think I saw you at the TT. That was a pretty fun race to watch, huh?
Dude, it was awesome. And
That
then
was
we
so
played,
good.
I've gotten to know Rollin Sands a little bit, and we played for some of those hooligan races. We played the one in San Francisco. And the hooligan race is the most American thing you could possibly ask for.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And the type of people that ride motorcycles like that are the type of people that will pull over and help you if you're in a jam, and the type of people that will probably keep their word. And I can't imagine a finer situation to be around than with people who keep their word.
Yeah, right on, man. And that's, when we talk all this stuff from week to week about how things are changing and the parts of it that we'd like to see stay the same. I mean, those are the foundation elements of motorcycle life that I hope never go away. I want there to be a sense of community. I want there to be values like respect and loyalty. I want that stuff because that's what I came up in it, and that's what I expect from it.
I've learned that the modern age of the vehicle of storytelling, which is the internet or whatever you want to call it, it's not as accurate as we think it is. And a lot of times it depicts a situation that's far less sweet than it really is. I find that those aspects of the biker community are still what's attracting people to this day and still going strong. I'm part of one. and almost every other biker in the world I know is part of one. So I feel like very hopeful always about everything in the future. Because as long as there's one motorcycle on the earth and one grease monkey to work on it, I think we're going to be doing okay.
Right on.
Nice. That's so great.
Good words, man. Good words.
Yeah.
Along with that, and stay horny, and that's really all you got to do.
Oh, right on.
Right on. Well, we really appreciate you taking the time out, Jesse. It was awesome to have you on.
Dude, I will take the time anytime for you guys. The next time I will like go and just happen to be with Joshua, and I'll be like, dude, check it out. Here we are. Let's talk.
That'd be great.
That'd be great.
Where
He
can
needs to come out to Sturgis and ride to Rushmore with us.
Yeah, listen.
Yeah, we can make that happen.
We can make that
easily.
happen. You just have to be able to get to Sturgis.
If you got the time to make it there, we'll have the bike set up.
Dude, I'm not even kidding. I'll fly out anytime. I'm like that dude. Like,
Well,
you threaten me with a good time, and I will show up.
Let's get down. Let's get down on Sturgis this year. We'll make that Rushmore ride happen. I'll show you on the backside the part that nobody talks about. Everybody always talks about riding Needles Highway out to Rushmore. Coming back on Iron Mountain Road is the shit.
112 turns
Yes.
and 11 miles.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking. Okay, I'm holding you to this now.
We're
I'm
on.
going to be haunting your radio, your show here multiple times before then, being like, "Remember me? Remember what you promised?"
Well, listen, this phone number I called you from, this is my personal cell phone. So just stay in touch with me. We'll make sure we have that shit set up. But where can people keep up with you and keep up with where Eagles is going to be and when the album's coming out?
Our website, eaglesofdeathmetal.com. My Instagram site, Father Badass. And Boots Electric, if you go to the bootselectric.com. But basically, Eagles of Death Metal. We're always moving, and like I said, we'll sleep when we die. So if you hear the sounds of some monkey shaking his dick, then that's probably where I am, and you just come right in and we'll have a good time.
Right on.
Right on. Thanks so much, man. We really appreciate it.
I really appreciate it. This was awesome. Thank you, guys.
Dig it, man. We'll catch you on the road.
Right on. We'll talk to you
Yes,
later.
sir. And you're going to be taking me on that drive, and you guys have a wonderful night.
Right on.
All
Buddy.
right, man.
We're on.
Later.
Later, brother.
That was great. That was
Yeah,
great.
that was everything
funny
I'd hoped for.
as
He's a
all
trip,
get
right?
out. That was
He's
awesome.
a trip, dude.
Yep.
So if he comes out to Sturgis, it's on. Can you
Oh,
imagine?
totally.
Can you imagine riding Iron Mountain Road with that cat?
Oh, it'd be so much fun. Yeah. Especially put him on like a 9-foot chopper.
Yeah.
Have
I'm on it.
some real fun. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah. No, that'd be a blast.
So rolling on into the second half of the show with Shop Talk, we appreciate you guys being here. If this is your first time watching, I want to thank you for letting us into your headspace, letting us create this new form of motorcycle media. This is part talk show, part TV show, and
Can we just do a timeout for a second?
Time out.
We've had the best guests on the last few weeks.
Right?
We
It's
really
been
have.
ridiculous, right?
I know, man.
It's
I've
been
been
so
riding
fun.
such a high from it. Like, how
I know.
badass
Like,
is
I've
it?
got
We
like
just
tinglies right now because it's been so great.
and we
It's
need
awesome.
you guys
Why
to
we-
tell people that shit's going on. Share it.
Yeah.
Share it. And how simple is it? There's if you found us tonight on the show, all you have to do is follow the little thing up to the top corner of your screen. Make sure you're setting your alerts that you're following us, and a little bell there will tell you that when we come on live, it lets you know. If you happen to be a Facebook fan follower, if not, you can subscribe through YouTube or any of the podcast channels that we have. There's plenty of ways to participate in Shop Talk.
So let's talk a little bit about one of our guests from last week, right? Logan Lackey, we had him on.
Poor Logan.
Oh, dude, right?
Yeah, from the X Games. But I think we need to follow that up because everybody maybe didn't know what happened out there, right? So they did like a seeding, right? So they sent everybody up the hill. But this wasn't just a hill. It went from 18 degrees to going up the backside of the big air
So
contest.
what was
Was
it overall? It was
58.
like 58 degrees.
Yeah, they went 40 degrees more. They announced it.
Yeah, it was something crazy, right? And then had a jump in the middle, which, hey, that's great when you're on a dirt bike, but not great when you're on a Dyna.
Yep.
So he placed like kind of towards the bottom, and his first head-to-head race was against
Dude,
The gold medal
listen.
winner from last year.
That's the thing. Like two things. As a boxer or as a motorcycle racer, you don't want your first race to be the champ from last year.
That was
You know
just
what I mean?
mean.
That's brutal shit that they pulled.
But the fact that he made it up that mountain, and
Yep.
not only that, so Travis Whitlock, who was the gold medalist from last year and the silver medalist from this year, he put up the fastest time of the day
Yeah.
against Logan. Like he
Which-
just murdered that course.
And I totally have to give that guy props. He's 49 years old.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
49
He
years
killed
old.
it. He came
Fastest
out.
time of the day. He killed it.
Came out and kicked it in the ass.
And
He
then
did.
on the last chance to win gold, he crashed. I was kind of bummed.
Yeah, and a lot of guys, like if you were watching that thing, and I know that it wasn't actually televised, you had to watch it on YouTube, but a lot of guys crashed their brains out in that left-hand lane at the
At
end
the
of the
end,
race.
yeah, it was torn up.
The left hand was the total disadvantage. It sucks.
Yeah. It's a weird there's a lot of variables it seems
Yeah.
like in that
Yep.
situation, snow conditions, temperature,
Even the
Yeah.
lighting too, I think, has to play a factor when you're going.
for sure,
up
and they're
like
doing
that.
it at night.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
It's craziness. But yeah, so I just wanted to follow up and let people know kind of what happened there.
Ryan Cadwalder says, it's a great show, aren't you guys? And a lady from PA. Yeah, Heather and myself are from Pennsylvania, and it's cold as balls here, where I'm sure if that's where you're from, it's cold there too. Greg Farrell, Total Envy, you guys get to hang out with the coolest cats on the coolest rallies. We do. There's a hell of a lot of work that goes into it also.
But we are very
it's
lucky
worth
to
it.
do what we
Yeah,
do.
Absolutely.
Hey, would anybody be out there, anybody that's watching, if we came to somewhere, like say we were in Sturgis and we did this live and we had some really cool guests like a Jesse Hughes or a Dave Perowitz, would people come out and watch it? Chime in.
If we,
Yeah,
if
that
we
would be
did this
cool.
live. 'Cause
Anybody interested in a live show?
We're thinking about doing that and giving everybody enough time that they can see.
And I think it'd be fun to actually do in the winter, you
Yeah.
know, like go out. Maybe there isn't a big event going on, but maybe we just go and show up somewhere and
Preferably
get people to come
someplace
out
warm.
and talk about motorcycles,
Daryl Huxell, did they state the weight difference with his bike and the others? X Games really helping the two-wheel movement for everyone who digs it. And it was totally badass. It was totally badass to see how much Harley Davidson put into that. It was really cool to see the motorcycle hill climbs and to see how much extra effort they put into the hill and making it into an event specifically for motorcycles. I'd love to see. It seemed like everyone kind of lost track of the fact of how you were going to watch the hill climbs. Like we just thought it would be on the regular programming. So, it seemed like it could have had a little more viewership if it had been, if we'd been directed better of where to go to see it. But
Well, yeah, they only had the finals on.
yeah,
Yeah. So it was definitely, that was rough, but whatever. It's cool. A lot of Harley Davidson banners in the old X Games though.
oh
Oh, yeah. And a lot of Harley Davidson commercials.
Yeah, we're there. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Dude,
every commercial
every
break, there was a
commercial break.
commercial for the live wire.
every single
break.
commercial break.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that seems like a good segue to move into that other piece. Did I send that to you? The guy with the that might have been on Instagram too.
No, tell me.
No.
I'm a terrible person. So they launched.
Oh yeah, I got that.
Okay, yeah, on social media, they had the one of the X Games gold medalists out on the electric version of a mountain bike, I guess. Anyways, I think it's a cool video. Let's watch it.
I got it up.
Cool.
Today we're here at Backcountry Aspen testing the Harley electric concept bike.
Sorry about that, Ken.
Motorcycles at the moment are the talk of the year pretty much, so I'm just excited to see what they've come up with as a concept. I just can't wait to get on it and test it and see if it lives up to its name. Woo! That was fun. Really impressive what these guys have done. I think they've met at a really great place between the mountain bike and dirt bike world, and for me I felt right at home. Power's amazing. It's definitely different to a gas motorcycle torque from ground zero, so it makes it, I think, much more user friendly. Don't have to worry about gears, it's just a whole lot easier. It was a whole lot of fun. I just hope I get the opportunity to take this thing onto the dirt one day.
You got to wonder what that's going to cost, right?
Yeah.
It should be like $2,000. That's what it should be. It should be like $2,000. Anything more than that, and it's going to be pretty hard sell for people.
It should be. It should be. And I mean, like I said, I would have that. I would definitely have the little mini bike looking one. I would absolutely have that for, drag those along and in between, back and forth, all the traffic, foot traffic that we normally do at the shows. That'd be badass.
Yeah. I mean, I can't say enough about that rad powered bike. I'm going to do a write-up for you guys and do a video review here pretty soon, but it's a electric powered just bicycle commuter bike, and it is so much fun. Like, my kids love riding it. I love riding it. It's so easy. It's just dummy proof, cheap, charges quick. Like, yeah, just a lot of fun. But I still love my combustion engines.
We got a lot of guys chiming in that we ought to do a independent shops tour. There's something like that in the works for Grease and Gears Garage, but you guys can watch for that. News coming out real fast. Mike Yurko said it was great having us at Bonneville. We did a live show from there this year, and it was one of my favorite shows of the year. Chris No says maybe we could do live at Spur Creek Saloon.
I don't know if they have enough internet for us at Spur Creek, but there are a lot of people on here that say they would be down for a live shop talk, which...
Ray, listen, my brother Ray's in the house, and I got to give it up to him because...
Ray, we miss you.
Ray is one of the guys that keeps me honest about expecting values and respect and loyalty and shit in this thing that makes it more than just, we're riding motorcycles, He's... He makes me proud. He makes me proud that I say the shit that I do. So I love you, brother. I wish you was here, or actually, I wish we were there because it's cold here. It's not where you're at.
He's in Cali, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's in one of the best parts of California.
Yep.
We got to go through and visit him on our honeymoon. I fell in love with the area Ray's in.
Yep.
I really did.
Well, funny you should mention that, because Why We Ride to the Quail is not that far from it.
What a segue. I should have known.
I know. I'm such an ass. No, but seriously, there's a handful of tickets left. It's been crazy the amount of people that have registered this year, and a lot of new people from all over the world. So I think it's really turning out to be it's going to be a really fun year for sure. So I'm super excited about it. Can't wait to go up the coast again, because we haven't been able to do that the last couple of years. We had the mudslides and the road was out.
That's right.
All sorts of stuff. But now the road's supposedly back in good shape, and it's gonna be a blast. I'm super excited.
Ray
One of my oldest
65.
friends is going on it.
Your oldest
Who's that?
friend?
One of my oldest friends. Yeah, she is dating a mutual acquaintance of ours. Actually, I introduced them, and I actually went to prom with her.
Wow.
So she's been with me since I was like 17 years old, and kind of a disaster. So, but yeah, she's the best. Laura.
So Ray says that it's 65 today. I feel bad. I felt worse whenever I was talking to Warren Lane earlier, and he was telling me what it was like where he's at, because he is way in the south of Florida, and it was hot as hell, and he was laughing at me how cold it is here.
Dude, what the hell is he doing to that bike?
Ray Caldwalder, do you do any shows in PA? Yeah, as a matter of fact, we do every year. We do a show with the people at Gettysburg Bike Week, and
we should do a live. Yeah, we should do a live shop talk from there.
We absolutely
we
should.
could do that. We could bring on Tom Kiefer.
Yeah.
Although, even though he's not
do it
watching
at his
tonight.
shop.
Oh yeah.
Didn't we say we were going to do that last year? I think we actually tried to do it last year.
Yeah, you guys didn't show up.
Oh.
Yeah, that's right. We couldn't make it.
We rock starred that shit.
So I need to back up for a minute to our guest, Jesse. How crazy was it he's traveled all over the world.
Yeah.
And to hear him say his bucket list ride was Rushmore.
Yeah.
I know. I'm like, no problem.
I know. I'm like, we can do that. And then it made me think, wow, we really are kind of blessed.
Right? We are.
Yeah.
We really, really are. I had to get that out. I had to back up there for a minute. Rich Petoni at Gettysburg Bike Week is the second weekend in July.
Yes, correct.
So
And we do mini bike races there and
right.
a bike show. It's fun.
Yeah.
The
And
riding
it's
through
really
the
fun.
battlefield, especially at dusk, is so cool. Creepy,
Yeah.
but awesome.
So real quick, we're going to take care of a little bit of business for the show and take a look at some products from Progressive Suspension.
Nice.
Or not.
And maybe we'll come
Or
back to
maybe
that in a
we're
minute. I swear to God, I've loaded it in before the show.
So Tom Kiefer's here.
And he said, yes, we do. Oh, how was your show, Tom? I'm sorry we didn't make it.
Yeah, we were. He was just doing a swap meet that we were trying to make it out to this weekend, Ken.
Nice. Well, we were talking about you earlier, Tom, because we were asking about what it was like to be, because I think he was a motor cop, right? And riding in the snow like it is right now has got to be just not that much fun. Do you have that? Do you have that?
He said it was great. Liar.
Yeah.
No, his show.
Oh, I thought he was talking about being a motorcycle cop in the winter.
Even keep up with your own questions.
All right, I did find that shit, so here it is.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Brian from J&P Cycles. In my hands, I have the Progressive 990 series shock for the twin shock design Harley Davidsons. What I really like about this shock is the wide range of adjustment. So you have a spring preload adjustment, rebound, and both high and low speed compression, offering you an almost infinite range of possibilities for your motorcycle. Now, this is going to give you a very linear and progressive feel because of the design. And by that, I mean you have the piggyback that has twin chambers in it. So oil is going to flow through those chambers smooth and consistent, no matter if you're abusing it or if you're just cruising down the road. When you head over to jpcycles.com, make sure you select your motorcycle for the proper fitment, and it's a quick and easy install. Get yours today. Thanks for watching.
You know, I got to tell you, like, one thing's on a serious note. He mentioned at the end of that when you go to JP Cycles, enter your motorcycle for the proper fitment. That's one of the coolest things about shopping on JP Cycles website is the fact that once you put in your year, make, and model, anything that you look at, it automatically brings up whether or not that fits your bike. So you don't got to waste a whole bunch of time. It's one of the best features about working through their website. So
Savannah Rose wants to know who needs shocks.
Who needs yeah.
She
She's a chopper
certainly doesn't
girl.
on that little mini bike she's making, that little mini bike chopper.
And
I'm sorry, Savannah's badass. I dig her.
She's badass, but she's still a young ass too.
I know she.
Eventually,
Happy birthday, Savannah! Today is
Right?
her 33rd birthday. God, I'm old.
That's what's up.
I know.
Oh,
That's what I thought.
Savannah,
I was like,
you're killing me.
53.
So looking at some more items in the news, the first responders in Columbus motorcycle unit hit the road to help citizens in freezing temperatures. This is no easy trip. Like I said, in the Northeast, man, to be a motorcycle anything, police officer, first responder, it's a handful. But despite sub-zero temperatures, several members of Columbus Police motorcycle unit bundled up, Arctic boots, double face masks, and heated clothing to hit the highways. The officer served as funeral escort Wednesday morning, kept a sharp eye out for stranded drivers in the 30-minute ride back to home base.
Gnarly.
Yes, sir.
That is no joke right there.
No.
Yes, sir.
But it would be kind of fun, right?
This is cool article that you brought up. I'm going to bring up here the Millennials have been called the brokest and the richest generation, and experts say both are true.
And they wear the worst sunglasses
No
as well.
shit. I immediately thought of Amelia when I saw those
Right?
sunglasses, honey.
I have to agree with you.
Oh.
So this is in from the Business Insider. Who actually did the study, Ken?
I can't remember. And of
So
course,
a
I don't
stu-
have
a
it in front of
study-
me.
A study from the Federal Reserve found that while millennials have less money compared to previous generations at their age, millennials' households have more money, which can only suggest to me that 3 or 4 of them live together,
That's what I thought too.
and one has a pretty good job.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well. And you know what's interesting is my sister, who is a millennial, she works. Her husband works kind of part-time, so that would be the case with them.
See?
So, yeah.
Like Ken mentioned earlier, Polaris Industries is also reporting their fourth quarter and full year report in 2018 up. This due, like you had mentioned earlier, Ken, how the slingshot and a bunch of stuff was in this. Also included in these numbers are their ATVs, UTVs, all of that.
In that number, yeah, for sure. And then they break it down to the motorcycle side.
okay.
You got to go like all the way down.
You got to dig.
Yeah, and it breaks down and it gives you
There we
like
go.
a dollar amount for motorcycles. And that piece, if you look at it from 2017 to 2018, is down as well. And so are profits. But there was victory wind down. There was, I mean, it's not an easy balance sheet to read for sure. But I think, and it's hard to tell what it is that's, if they're selling more Indians or if, Slingshot's taken a significant, crash, which is my understanding is that they sold a ton of Slingshots right off the bat. And then they've had a hard time subsequently selling more. So, but those numbers are, they're required to do that. And, I don't put a lot of faith in them. I mean, I know they're true, but I'm not like, I guess I don't put a lot of stock in them is what I'm trying to say.
So, Sean Maloon, second week watching, says he loves it. Thanks for being here with us, man.
Chris No says, I rode 600 miles in a blizzard. Why?
Sometimes just to say that you could.
True. You would do
Seriously.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
you would do that.
Yes, I would.
that. All right, I take back the why I married
I
Chris.
got snowed on from when I came back from California 2 years ago on the Indian. It was not great.
Yeah, when I got stuck in a snowstorm on a bike in New Hampshire once, but then again, it's New Hampshire. It could snow in October.
Right.
Yeah, it was pretty unpleasant.
Coming down the last couple pieces of news, the RMK Vehicle Corporation jumping in on the electric motorcycle game, also going hubless. Electric and hubless.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's very it's too angular for me. It doesn't
It looks like a Lego bike. You can say it. You can say it.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. It's not my thing, but I think it would be fun to ride. And, I was hoping that because of, I don't know why, but it just seemed to me like, that bike should have more range because it should be, in theory, lighter, I guess.
Uh-huh.
But it's not. It's like 440 pounds, and it still only gets about 125 miles range out of it. And it's $30,000 or something. So, yeah. It's a lot of moolah.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, this electric motorcycle thing that's going on is definitely going to be a very, very thin margin, a very specific demographic. And it's going to be people, according to the news over this last week, that even Elon Musk is not able to reach at this present moment because, do you see 4,500 people Elon Musk is laying off?
Yeah, I mean, he's trying to get his price down. He's trying to get his price down, trying to, increase profits. I mean, they stopped drilling underneath L.A., so no more drilling corporation.
Yeah.
He was going to put a train underneath L.A., like he got this giant. The dude is so smart, though. You listen to him talk, and it's like, it's got to be tough being that smart, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're just looking at me like, uh-huh.
Man, I don't know. We live in such a fucking ridiculous time. Like, honestly, and yeah, the dude is smart. There's teams of people with intelligence like that. But somehow in our culture today, we pick these, like, superheroes. We elevate people to this superhero status and then look to them for all the answers. And I'm not sure he has a lot more to give. Him and Richard Branson are racing to see who's the first person to fly people around in outer space. And
totally unnecessary endeavor.
Right?
Yeah.
Although
I mean,
I think they're
yeah.
going to be doing it. Like Richard Branson's going to start next year, I think. And he's already got 600 people waiting for tickets, or actually that have already paid for tickets, I believe.
That's not people. That's 600 dummies.
And we're
600
sitting here
rich dummies.
We're sitting here talking about $30,000 electric motorcycles that are too expensive. There's actually people paying to take a fucking space ride.
For a lot of money.
A
It's
lot of
and
money.
there's, I mean, we all witnessed, right? The space shuttle blowing up. I mean, that's a
Yeah.
possibility. You know, like that was NASA too. That wasn't just.
Yeah, that wasn't people saying, "Hey, I think we could do this too."
Hey,
Yeah.
And I
I'll
think
hold my
I
beer.
think if you look up, you know, they've blown up a few rockets here and there. So, anyways, one of my friend actually works for SpaceX.
Really?
He's an actual rocket scientist. Yeah. Wait, you make that sound like I don't know any rocket scientists. What the
No.
hell, Chris?
I'm just saying that's interesting.
You know a rocket. You're
I have-
related
yeah.
to a rocket scientist.
I have a relative that actually built a robot that went on Mars.
Oh.
And surprises the shit out of me because I'm like, really? Which is to my point. You know, there's people out there like not sure I would let them drive. Just saying. So we got one thing left
Bless
in
you.
the news this evening. Vintage Kawasaki Cache to be sold at MPA auction. Boy, I'm not worth a shit tonight. I feel bad for you, Ken. We all heard about the legendary barn find, rare bike hidden away for decades, just waiting to be discovered. But this Power Sports Business brings us the information about a cache of 70 machines all at once. The world's largest provider of power sport vehicles, Power Sports Business, uncovered a collection of vintage Kawasaki's as eclectic as it is exotic, ranging from the KLX 110s up to legendary H2. MPA will be auctioning the full collection at their San Diego auction February 1st. Auction starts at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and the bikes will be running throughout the day.
So get on it, people. If you're into Kawasaki's,
Let the
which
good times
Kawasaki's
roll.
they've been doing their part too to try to get out there, get people on them. I think it's great. I actually saw, what was it? Steve Caballero was out skating and he had a Kawasaki shirt on. So good on him. Product placement.
Greg Farrell just chimed in and he says, I track satellites for NASA and have tracked a couple of SpaceX launches.
Right on.
Cool.
Super
Nice.
cool.
Look at the big brain on Greg.
I love the diversity
Right?
of the people
it's
we
so
are
great.
blessed to have tune into us.
For sure.
Troy Phillips.
That's the best part.
My brother made parts for it out of his shop. There you go.
Nice.
I think didn't Mr.
Today,
Fish too?
wow, I didn't realize that today is the Challenger anniversary, and
Is it really?
We're sitting here cutting up about it.
Oh, shit.
We're all going to hell.
Well, I mean,
we
we
are.
were anyway, but
Yeah. I remember that. Did you guys watch that live?
Yep. I came
Dude,
home
I remember
sick.
being in school and watching it live.
I came home sick and watched it at my great grandparents' house, just sitting there like it broke in on Gomer Power or some shit.
Yeah.
Far out.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and that was back at a time where they used to roll in the TV cart to the classrooms and,
Totally.
oh, you got to see this thing. And
Christy McCullough. She was a teacher, right?
she was a teacher from Concord, New Hampshire. I mean, I grew up
Oh.
just through, I don't know, half hour, 45 minutes away. It was a big deal where I was.
Ray says, not today, 28th.
The
Savannah
28th.
was born on the day.
Yep, January 28th, 1986.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. She was a teacher from Concord, New Hampshire.
Yep. What else you got in there, Blondie?
Hold on. I saw it live at school. I made a buckle for the guy that made the parachute for the Mars lander. That was Brian Ferran from Bluegrass Engraving.
Oh, no shit.
Such good stuff.
Barclay Smashy says if that's what you're going to hell for, someone's not paying attention.
Nice. I like Rob El Tigre. My dog flies his red rocket.
Chris No watched it from minimum security in Connecticut.
Nice.
Oh crap!
So a couple things we want to get to real quick and let you guys know some events that are coming up in April. The Texas Fandango promises to be a good time. CherokeeAMCA.org. You can check out more about that. The 32nd annual Donnie Smith Show is coming up in short order. St. Paul, Minnesota, March 23rd and 24th.
You guys going?
I think we are.
I don't know.
I think so. One thing for sure, you can definitely catch us March 14th, 11 to 4 at Willie's Tropical Tattoo in Daytona for
Kind
Chopper
of like
Time.
8 or 9, really, if you want to get a decent spot.
Right.
Real quick, we actually just got a new sponsor for that, and he's watching right now. Brian Ferran from Bluegrass Engraving has signed on to do the awards for Chopper Time this year.
Right on.
So thank you, Brian. We are super pleased to have you again. You did such a great job for us at In Motion. I can't wait to see what you come up with next.
Nice. That's awesome.
So like we were saying earlier in the show, thank you guys for tuning in, chiming in, helping this thing go. Ray, thanks for being here tonight, brother, helping us keep this thing going. And
Wow, we're going to really keep it to 90 minutes. This is fantastic. Nice
See?
work.
I can be taught. I can be
So
taught.
good. So good.
Since when?
I can.
No, he can.
I've officially become corrigible.
Really?
Don't say it. Don't say it. Anyway.
I can't wait to ride motorcycles with you two as well as with everybody out there. It's getting to be that time of winter when I'm like starting to get itchy. Like
Yep,
I need to
cabin
get out
fever.
and ride. Yeah.
I'm ready. I'm ready to get out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
Please remember, week after week, we're doing the best we can to bring this out for you guys and constantly have new guests and cool things to talk about. You can help make that happen simply by sharing this program. Usually every week we've been doing the share challenge and trying to get the share numbers up. We let you guys alone to your own devices today. Hopefully that pays off. Everybody wait.
Yeah, I still owe Ryan McQuiston a shirt because he just was the crazy sharer a
Killed
couple
it.
weeks ago. I gotta send that out.
Right on. Oh, so are we going to talk about iTunes and Spotify?
Oh.
And
Oh yeah,
We should
just
do that.
curious.
yeah.
Just
Do you
saying.
have a screenshot of that?
I'm bringing it up right now while Heather tells everybody.
So Chris and I have been working for the past week or so on a website specifically devoted to Shop Talk podcast. It's motoshoptalk.com. But he's also worked to get Shop Talk podcast up on iTunes and Spotify and help me, I don't know them all. Stitcher,
Google Play.
So Ken does have them on forever2wheels.com. He will always have them on forever2wheels.com. But we wanted to try and make it a little bit easier for you guys to find us. So if you go to iTunes or any of those that we mentioned, Shop Talk is there now. You can find it there as a podcast. We do ask, because we are new and we are the babies of the group, and same for Ken, Forever Two Wheels, please rate and review us. Doing that little bit for us would be such a tremendous help in the grand scheme of our day.
So the easiest way to find Shop Talk is to use the word Shop Talk, but it's all one word. So Shop Talk, all one word.
And if you
Capital
go,
S, capital T.
like Heather said, if you go to motoshoptalk.com, any of the links there, Apple Podcasts, Google, Stitcher, RSS feed, all of this stuff actually works and will take you to the appropriate place where you can check us out as podcast. I know it's a much more convenient way for a lot of people like to, listen to us on the way to work or while they're working. It's a easier way to get your fix of Shop Talk.
And you've got the archived ones of previous shows, and I'm assuming you'll probably put all the Forever Two Wheels ones up there as well.
Yep.
Yes.
And one of the nice things about that is if you go to the episodes, there's extras, so if you check out last week's show, we have some cool pictures and stuff that go along with that, a little bit of extra commentary.
So I think on this particular site, we've got 10 or 15 up now. It's kind of a laborious process to get them all up. I think it's 31 steps to get one from start
it's
to
no
finish.
joke.
So bear with us. We will get them all up. But in the meantime, you can absolutely and will always be able to find them on forever2wheels.com.
Right on.
I've totally lost my mind tonight. So
Have you?
Tonight has nothing to do with it.
It's time for a motorcycle ride. That's what I
yes.
know.
Yeah, it is.
It's too
Yes,
cold
yes,
to be
yes.
in the shop.
Vroom vroom.
I need a ride. So
All right, I got to get on this guy and go make sure I can go buy this PW80 tomorrow.
Yes. We want to see pictures of it next week on the show.
All right. Yeah, you bet.
right on, man. And listen, again, I want to tell you guys thanks for being here with us, bringing into your headspace our little weekly offering from the Motorcycle Gods. Until next week, I'm Chris.
And I'm Ken.
I'm Heather.
See you next week.